Hey, it's your girl Nicole, and welcome back to another episode of the Risers Hub podcast where wellness, empowerment, and personal growth live. First and foremost, thank you so much for being here and listening to this podcast. Second, I hope that you're finding your peace and a welcoming space for your own self-care. Now, life is very busy. I know. People are very busy. And on top of all the busyness, there is so much craziness going on around us. So if you can take anything away from the beginning of this podcast, please remember to control what you can control and let go of what you cannot control. Just start there. Just start there and find a welcoming, quiet space that you can experience your own self-care. Okay? All right. So I want to get right into the podcast. I'm a little excited about this. I have been thinking about this podcast on several runs I have been taking, and we'll be talking about that as well. But last week we talked about deliberate change. And deliberate change is changing intentionally with a plan. It involves actively making decisions and taking steps to create change. For example, setting goals, making a plan, and adjusting your behavior to achieve your desired outcome. Today, I want to talk about the process. We hear people talk about the term, the process. Embrace the process. Stick with the process. Get through the process. But what really is the process? Well, the process of change is the ongoing journey of transformation involving self-awareness, resistance, adaptation, and growth. It unfolds in stages. The process unfolds in stages, recognizing the need for change, navigating discomfort, taking intentional action, and ultimately embracing a new way of being. True change isn't instant. It's a continuous cycle of learning, adjusting, and evolving. Now, in that definition I found, I highlighted several words in this definition. One word, ongoing. Transformation. Self-awareness, this is highlighted as well. Resistance, adaptation, growth. Those are all involved in the process of change. There will be discomfort. Remember that. Intentional action. It's kind of what we talked about last week. Intentional action is deliberate change. Continuous cycle of learning, adjusting, and evolving. So the reason why I really want to talk about the process today is because I was thinking about the last podcast I put out about deliberate change, and there was just so much more to be added to that podcast. And looking at this definition and thinking about the process, I've been listening to other podcasts and reading a few things, and the one thing I feel like people do is they kind of like glance over the process. They talk about it, but they don't dig into it. Like, what emotions are you feeling when you're in the process? What's happening when you're in the process? Because when you are in the process, it's a very lonely situation to be in. You know, when you decide to make a deliberate change and you're pushing through, air quote, the process, it can be very lonely. One example I can give you is when someone's diagnosed with cancer and they have to, or they decide to shave their head. They want to take control of the disease and they shave their head and they have to go through the chemo. And they may have someone there who's very supportive, very loving, and it's all with good intention. And they decide they're going to shave their head as well. Well, their process is going to be very different than the person who's actually going through the process. They're very lonely. They're the ones who have to go to the doctors, get to their appointments, deal with all the different stages of trying to fight this disease. And so the process is very lonely. And I want you to understand that the reason why I want to talk about this is when you are going through the process of losing weight, starting your own business, getting a new job, changing your circle of friends, it's going to be a very lonely part of your life because you know that it's no longer serving you and you need to do something different that's going to serve you. So what I did is I broke down the process in 5 stages. And I'm going to run through that list And then within those 5 stages, of course, I'm going to give you some definitions, some examples, but I'm also going to talk about the emotions that go through each stage. Because when you decide to make a change, again, no matter what it is in your life, and this is your life, so I don't know what's going on in your life, you know what you need in your life. You're going to go through this process, and if you don't know if you're in the middle of the process, you will know once you start feeling like, man, no one's really here to help me out. And so I don't know if I'm supposed to be feeling this way or feeling that way. I'm going to kind of give you some examples of how you might be feeling, what you could be feeling, and what you probably are feeling, so that when you're going through this stage in your life of change, you're kind of prepared. You can kind of foresee what might happen. And what I can tell you about change, because I've been through several situations of change, is that it is lonely. And there will be people who do not understand why you're doing what you're doing, especially when it's deliberate change. And that's okay. I want you to understand that that is okay. Because sometimes you need to be by yourself to learn about yourself, so that when you get to the other side or reach your goal or get to where you need to be, you will be more satisfied, you'll be happier. And in those moments when you are by yourself, you're still okay. You're fine. Because during that process, it was lonely, it was tough, it was hard. And you made it to the other side. You reached your goal. You are sustaining a lifestyle that you're happy with. And you have this tendency to not go below a certain level because you you were already there. That's why you decided to change in the first place, okay? All right. So those 5 stages. Number 1, awareness and recognition. Number 2, commitment and decision. Number 3, planning and preparation. Number 4, action and implementation. And number 5, sustainability and integration. All right? So each one of those stages are very self-explanatory, okay? Awareness and recognition. You just realize that your current lifestyle is no longer serving your well-being. It's unhealthy, there's a lack, and you're probably stressed. So in this stage also, you're identifying specific areas that need improvement. It could be your physical health, your mental well-being, your productivity. And then acknowledging your personal barriers, such as bad habits or lack of time or external influences. Now I'm going to give you an example of awareness and recognition in my life. There was a point in my life where I had obtained what I thought was a great job, great position, plans on being there for as long as I possibly could. I loved what I was doing and enjoyed the people that I worked with. And then there was this turn of events, and I, to this day, cannot figure out what it could have been at all. And the environment became very toxic and unwelcoming. And at first I thought, oh, well, this'll pass. And so I just kept trudging along. And then I realized that the more I kept working harder and achieving the goals at work that I wanted to achieve, the environment wasn't helping. I noticed that the environment became very toxic, and so toxic to the point where I would wake up with stomach aches, headaches, diarrhea, and wanting to throw up every morning before I even ate my breakfast. I'm a fairly healthy person, so I knew something was wrong. And I learned that it was stress, and it was being locked out of meetings and not being informed about things happening around me. And I happened to talk to another coworker, and she was going through the same thing, and we started comparing notes, and then we realized, oh, this is not good for us. And that's when I realized that this is affecting my health, my well-being, my mental. And I know that I'm a good worker. I know that I can achieve a lot of things within a short amount of time. And so I had to make a very hard decision to step away from that position. And I had no idea what I was going to do because this is something that I loved. And it was actually pulling me away from what I loved doing, which was being creative, managing projects, working with all kinds of different people. But if it wasn't serving me in a way that was making me happy and I was more stressed and bringing that stress home to my family, I did not want to be a part of that. So I had to make a very hard decision, and it was frustrating. And these are the common emotions that you're going to feel in the stage of awareness and recognition. I felt frustrated. I felt guilty. There was a lot of fear and anxiety. And there was a lot of curiosity. So when you get into the stage of awareness and recognition, you will be frustrated because you see what's happening and you probably can't believe it's happening to you. So you get very frustrated. And then the guilt sets in because then you feel like, oh, I can't think about me. This is about how you are feeling. And the guilt is just a way to keep you in that situation. If you're not fine, like I wasn't fine. I was waking up sick every morning. And I had to face the fact that I needed to practice self-care on myself. So don't feel guilty about that. Anxiety and fear, when you decide that there needs to be change and you don't know what's on the other side or you don't know what the next steps are, it's okay. It's okay. You're going to feel that. And then curiosity, what can I improve? I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to be doing. What can I improve? All right. So when you get to stage 1, you're going to feel frustration, guilt, anxiety, fear, and curiosity. Number 2, commitment and decision. Now, this is when you decide to make a firm decision to adopt a better lifestyle, whatever that means. I want to say a healthier lifestyle because it doesn't matter if this is a job or starting your own business or starting a fitness program or trying to lose weight. All of this has to do with your health. All of this has to do with your wellness. And whether this is a job, friend, family, fitness, exercise, all of this works together. It's all part of your wellness journey, okay? So commitment and decision is making a firm decision to adopt a healthier lifestyle. It's time to start setting clear intentions like, I want to lose 5 pounds. I want to reduce my screen time, or I will exercise 3 times a week. Break each goal down, okay, into those action steps. And like I've said before, just do 3 things. Just write down 3 simple things that'll get you closer to your goal. Start with something that you enjoy. So if we are talking about losing weight, a lot of people think, oh, I don't like running. I don't want to go to the gym. Fine. You don't have to go run. You don't have to go to the gym, but you can start walking. You can start doing body exercises while you're sitting there watching TV. You can start very, very small. You can take those sweet drinks and replace it with water. I mean, little steps will go a long way. Common emotions you're going to feel in commitment and decision are going to be motivation, hopefulness, fear of failure, and determination. Motivation because you're going to be doing something that you haven't done before. You're going to do something a little bit different. Hopefulness is that you're going to see a better you on the other side. Fear of failure. What if I don't stick to it? This is a big one for me because I know that I'm like that person who, oh, squirrel, next thing. Oh, squirrel, next thing. That's me. So fear of failure is something that I grapple with all the time. And because I know that, that's a good thing. But when I didn't know that, oh boy, a lot of things didn't get done. And the last one, determination. You want to do this for your future, so you're going to be determined to do it. Okay, so determination and fear of failure are 2 things that like fight with each other. And luckily with me, my determination is bigger than my fear of failure. So I want you to think about what it looks like for you in the future when you start to commit and make decisions to move closer to your goal. And then stage number 3, planning and preparation. This is really big in Time to Rise, Get Fit, and Stay There, the book that I wrote with all the different goal settings and stuff, because now you have developed some goals that you want to achieve, and then you're going to create 3 to 5 action steps for each of those goals. And when you're doing that, you're going to start small, and then you're going to start to prepare yourself. The interesting thing about the action steps is that they are in stages. So you have a goal, and then for that goal, you start really small with 3 things. So I want to get fit. So what does that mean? I always have people start really small. Well, what do you need to get fit? Do you have workout clothes? Do you have the right shoes to wear? Can you drink more water? And they're like, well, Nicole, what about the exercising and the moving? I'm like, we're going to get there. But in order for you to get there, we have to start planning and preparing. And that's going to motivate you to actually do the action steps of moving and grooving and getting into that gym. So we have an action step of getting fitter. And I asked them to be a little bit more specific. So the goal would be to lose 5 pounds. And what are those 3 action steps? Okay, well, have you contacted a gym? Let's contact a gym. Number 2, do you have the right gear to even work out? Do you have the right shoes? Do you have the right clothes? Okay, let's look into that. And then number 3, let's talk to a trainer and just talk to them and see what kind of schedule you need to build in order to get fit. You don't have to necessarily hire that trainer, but they can give you some insights on where to even start. So those are 3 action steps that will evolve, because once you get that part of those goals done, you're going to move to the next 3. Okay, now I've talked to a trainer. I think I'm going to join a gym and go once a week. I think I'm going to go and start drinking more water. So I bought me some water bottles. Now that I've got the gear to wear and move around in, I'm going to add walking to my daily routine. That's what I mean about those action steps evolving. That's planning and preparation. Now, the feelings that you're going to have in this stage is optimism. You're going to feel overwhelmed at times. There's going to be that doubt again. And then there's also going to be readiness. So you've gone through all these different stages with these action steps. And now you have a solid plan. You've done the first 3 action steps, then they evolved into you actually doing the action steps, and you like that plan. You have a solid plan. And then you're also going to feel overwhelmed. When you're in planning and preparation, you will be overwhelmed at first. But when you talk to a wellness coach like me, when you talk to a trainer, when you talk to someone who can help you with these goals, they should start you out very small so you do not feel overwhelmed. And then there's going to be readiness. Once you have that solid plan, once you've gotten over the doubt, and once you've gotten over being overwhelmed, it's time to be ready for the change. And the change is coming. So you have the first set of action steps, the little small steps, and then now you're taking actual action steps, and then now you're moving into actually doing those action steps. So the readiness is going to be there because now you're moving forward. Stage number 4, action and implementation. Whew. Now, this is the hardest stage because you're turning your ideas into action. Some days are going to feel really easy and other days are going to feel like an absolute struggle. I'm very aware of this. You're going to be facing temptations, setbacks. It's going to be a slow process. And this is where the negative talk comes in. This is when, oh my goodness, haters will feed off of this during this stage because you're actually doing the actions and you're implementing it into your life. There are going to be people who are going to talk about you, talk about why are you doing this? What are you doing? And this is, let me give you an example. Just this weekend. Now, I'm training for a half marathon. I'm well past the stage of planning. I'm definitely in the stage of action and implementation. And someone made a comment about how half marathon training is so much easier than something else that they were doing. And the old Nicole would have taken offense to that. But because I am past the negative talk, to myself first. And because I have heard other people say things to me about all the training that I'm doing right now, I'm past that. And so I can see that that is their issue and that is not my issue. I'm doing something that not a lot of people can do and only a handful of us can do. And I'm following a plan that's actually very hard for me because I grew up as a sprinter. And the most you could get me to run was 400 meters. And now, for the past, 100 years of my life, I've done 5Ks, 10Ks, marathons, half marathons. And half marathons are my jam. That is what I like to do. If you remember, at the beginning, I said, do something that you like to do. I love running. I really enjoy half marathons. I feel like I get just enough satisfaction out of that race. And so because I am at an older age, I am competing against myself. And there is a certain time I would like to achieve at my next half marathon. So for me, that negative talk that I got from that person was on her, not me. And so when you get to the action and implementation stage, you should be you are at a stage where you're taking action. You're determined to move forward and you're going to move forward. So when a negative thought comes into your head, that's fine. It's okay. It's going to come. Let it come. And then let it go. You have the power to let it come in. You have the power to let it go out. Remember that. And when it goes out, try to replace it with something that's realistic and positive in your life. Another example. I looked at my workout this week. I have a 6-mile run, a 9-mile run in the middle of the week, and then another 6-mile run, and then a 3-mile run. The 9-mile run is sticking out like a sore thumb, and I'm freaked out about it. But I had to tell myself, look, you can do it. You've been putting the miles in. You've been putting the time in. You've been putting the strength training in. You're going to be fine. So the only problem I have right now is when am I going to put this 9 miles in? Early in the morning or late at night? Because I have to work during the day just like everybody else. So that's where my head is at. And so people can say whatever they want about my training. You can say whatever you want about your training. But again, let the negative talk come and then let it go. Let it go. Some emotions you're going to feel in this stage. You're going to feel excitement. I feel excitement. I'm a little nervous about this week's workout, but I'm also excited because I literally talk myself into running these miles every single day. I let the anxiety come, I let the fear come, and then I start talking to myself. You're going to feel frustration because not everything is going to turn out the way you want it, and it's okay as well. The one thing my daughter told me last week when she ran with me was that, Mom, instead of stopping, keep going. Just keep going, even if you have to slow down. Just keep going because you want to look back and say, I killed that workout because I didn't stop. And that resonated with me, even though she's 100 years younger than me. But it stuck with me, and it's going to stick with me every time I get through each and every workout. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going. Okay? You're going to have self-doubt. Like I just shared my self-doubt with you. I know I can do the 9 miles, but in the middle of the week, it's not a long run on the weekend. That's what I'm freaking out about. And then your pride. Let your pride be your pride. Let that go. Let your pride go. And this is the part at the beginning of the podcast, when I highlighted the word learn, you're always going to have to be open to learn. And that's when you have to let your pride go and learn. Just like I had to learn from my daughter, who's less than half my age. And I have to keep pushing through. Okay. And then impatience. Oh, why is this taking so long? Why is the process taking so long? I have 3 more weeks of training. But then at the same time, like, I don't want time to go that fast, but I have 3 more weeks of training. And I'm going to get through it. And you're going to get through whatever you're trying to get through as well. Just be patient. Okay, so the last stage is integration and sustainability. It's making your new lifestyle a permanent habit, not just a temporary fix. So it's very much like seeing a result and wanting to do more to keep the result going. That is the secret of the process. When you start to see results, you see a little muscle pop, or you are trying to get a new job and you're starting to see people looking at your resume, or you want to start your own business and you start seeing people wanting to buy your product and you want more. And so you start to integrate all these habits that you've worked so hard for to make your goal come to fruition. So now you have to keep going and you have to keep going. So the secret to the process is getting to the point where you can sustain what you're doing and you start to see results get bigger and bigger and bigger to get closer and closer and closer to your goal. The secret to the process is that it is ongoing. And what's great about it is that it becomes a lifestyle. And as you get through all these different steps, you're stronger, you're happier with whatever you're looking to do. And in order to maintain that, you have to keep going. You can get creative on how you're going to keep going, but keep going. So the common emotions that you have in this particular stage is confidence, satisfaction, relief, pride, and joy. Confidence that you made it this far. Satisfaction that it is becoming part of your lifestyle. Relief that I'm not controlled by my bad habits anymore. Pride. I proved to myself that I could change. And joy. You feel so much better overall. It's a fantastic feeling. Okay, so the 5 stages one more time, and then we're done. You're done listening to this voice. The first one is awareness and recognition. Second one is commitment and decision. Number 3, planning and preparation. 4, action and implementation. And 5, sustainability and integration. These steps are very similar to the deliberate change steps we talked about last week. I really wanted to focus on the emotions that you're feeling in each of these stages. I really hope that you got something out of this, because when you are going through change, like I said before, it's a very lonely situation, but you got this. You've got this. You know what you want out of life. You know what's going to make you happy. So do it. Do it. And keep pushing. Because right now, I feel like everything around us is trying to crumble. And if we can sustain ourselves in a healthier lifestyle, and then, maybe it's a domino effect where you help someone else start sustaining a better lifestyle. And then that person helps another person. And then as we start helping each other, we build this huge community to the point where we can fight back and we can build better communities and safer communities within ourselves, in our hearts. Just take care of yourself. That's why I do these podcasts. I just want people to take care of themselves so they can effectively take care of others. So that's it for today's episode. Again, thank you so much for listening. Remember, you can find more wellness and lifestyle resources at therisershub.com, and check out the latest blog post on why female coaches are needed in sports. That blog is dedicated to Michelle Freeman. And you can find the Risers Hub on Instagram and YouTube. Please subscribe, like, and share. And as always, you got this. And keep rising. Bye. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Remember, this podcast is meant for both education and entertainment purposes only. I am not a licensed therapist, so it's crucial to consult your physician, psychotherapist, or qualified health professionals for personalized advice. Until next time, take care. If you're enjoying this podcast, I would like to ask you to please subscribe, like, and share. That's what they told me to do at the end of this podcast. So could you hook me up? Thanks. Bye.